And we're live.
Yeah.
Tonight it is about potential versus reality. What if our partner does not live up to what we see in them?
I want to wait a few moments
Okay.
to see if people want to join. Give them some time. And you still have your text.
Yes, you can talk if you want.
I just want to wait a few moments. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Almost.
Yes. So, yeah. So today's topic, potential versus reality. Now, for me, this is a topic which was very active in my life, in previous relationships. And well, actually, since I met you, there's a lot changing. Because before, this was a thing where I always lost myself. Like, I'm very sensitive, and sometimes I have dreams or visions or things that can come true. And quite often I was really seeing the potential of a situation or a relationship or a man or something like that. And quite often I lost myself because I was so much focusing on the potential that I was not able to see anymore what was there. So yeah, it's beautiful to share our story in this. So how that changed, because when I was focusing on a potential, a lot of situations just turned out differently than how they have could be, because I just manipulated the situation, or I just, yeah, some things happen because I want to control it.
So potential versus reality, it actually means you want to change the other person. You see that they can be different, and of course we all have something we can grow into, and you probably see it clearer with your partner because you're more focused on them. And so what to do with that when there's things that you really see your partner could change, but they're not doing or not yet ready in the moment? What do you do?
Well, maybe we can share out of our own experience what we went through, just our own story, and then people can ask some questions or share something if they want to. Shall I start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for me, when the moment that I met Matthias, it was very strong for me. And I felt this amazing, beautiful potential of this wonderful man, but also of the relationship. So it was like I was really pulled towards him. And most often when I feel something like that, I just go for it. So I'm very quick in my actions. And what happened now was, because Matthias was so different with it, that I was invited to pull back, and instead of living up to what could be, just to stay in every moment. So instead of my fairy tale vision that I had, because I felt quite, it was quite rapidly that I had this feeling like, oh, I want to marry this guy. I was like, what the fuck? What am I thinking? What am I saying? I want to marry this guy, really? So, and I just had to let go that ridiculous idea or feeling. And because I saw how much pressure it caused on him, just the energy, not even speaking about it, but just the energy. And that was translated at one moment that I remember. It's a beautiful story to share. When we were in the bus to Prague, and you were sitting next to me, and I was talking about marriage, like, oh, how do you feel about marriage, and is this something important for you, or is it not relevant, or and he every little disturbing energy he could feel, so he just looked at me and was like, why are you asking? I was like, well, just because it just comes up in a moment, and I said, oh, or do you believe you found someone you want to marry with? And I felt so embarrassed. He just looked straight through me. So I had this little pillow and I was covering myself like, oh, fuck, really? So I became this little girl again who was like just trapped in her own vision or longing or desire.
Why was it so important for you at the time?
I don't know why. Maybe because I always wanted a solid relationship in a way. And also when you see something or you feel something, that it's nice when it comes true, right?
But why was it embarrassing that it was that I saw that you were actually longing for marriage?
Because I felt trapped. I felt like, because I wanted to know the truth out of your mouth, but I was a little bit covering it up in a way, like not speaking out my truth, that what you said was true, right? That I was longing for someone to share my life with, or I was believing that marriage could be something beautiful. But by asking you this question, I didn't dare to speak my whole truth. So I tried a little sneaky way, let's say, this manipulative feminine way.
Because for me, the marriage at that time was still very far away, because I was still sorting out other things. Like if I really would be able to do a commitment like that, or even think about being able to marry somebody like you, I had to sort through a lot of more things. So I think we were sorting out the same things in ourselves to find out if we were able to live together. And for me, it was a way of also waiting and postponing, also seeing that if you could let go of that energy of really wanting it, or somehow needing to know the future, that then I could relax more, because I could be in a moment with you.
Yeah, and that was very difficult for me, because I always was, living up to something. And, this little embarrassed situation brought up something, a piece of my little girl back, but also this moment where I realized, like, I cannot manipulate this guy in any way, because he just sees through me. And if I want to make this work, I don't know how, but if I want to and meet him on a different level, then I have to let go what I see and the potential I see and the desire that I have, or the expectations that I have. And it was so beautiful. At one point we had this, I remember this night, when we were sitting together and we were talking about this, because there were other longings as well. And you just said, why don't you give it all back to God? And I was like, what? And just like the words giving it back. And it struck me in a way, because I never tried that before. Giving something back. How do you mean giving something back? And then the morning after, when I woke up, I was realizing that I wanted to try it. So I sank into this soft space into my heart. And I just relaxed. And all the ideas that I had about Matthias, about how much of a great coach he is, or what a beautiful man, or which sexual potential I saw in you, or how I could see that you could, stand more in your power, or how our relationship could grow, or we could even, go towards marriage, or I just let it all go. Everything that I fantasized and everything that I dreamed of, and everything literally dreamed of even, or everything that I believed that could be true or reality, I just let it go. And every thought that came up in that direction, it was like, okay, no, let go.
Even though they could be true.
Even
right?
though if it could be true, yes. And that gave me such a liberation. And I looked at him, at this man lying next to me, and I was like, oh my God, I see you now as you are. And I don't know how you will change or what kind of a man you will be next week or within a few hours or in a few months or how our relationship will be. And there is a potentiality which is beautiful when you feel it. But I see you now. And you felt that. I remember that you really could feel it. How was that for you, this period of where we went through when I was still clinging on to the potential?
I remember the moments that you had when you gave it all back were for me, turning points that I waited for, because I know that if you would expect things from me in the future, that I couldn't live up to that, at least not in the moment. Maybe in the future it would be there. But in that moment, it's just like, this is where I am now. So those moments were made me very happy, because also some burden would fall off my shoulder, because I could just be with you. And we would like, I remember many times I would just say, like, I want to do this together. If you said something that meant that could be different, that I could change in myself, yeah, of course I can change that. Yeah, and I lost my train of thought. It's fine. Whatever.
Do you have any idea how I pictured that is called, how this call could be?
No.
So I have to go back to reality now? You just screwed up, man.
Well,
No,
for
I'm
a
just
moment, I
kidding.
was feeling that the moments you gave the things back, like when you say that, I can feel that, because to me, it's the most beautiful thing. If you like, one time, the thing that is really obvious to me is that what's so beautiful is the most beautiful things that you can give to God or to the divine, or is your desires, because if you're willing to even give up your desires, you have nothing left. So you've kind of in surrender. You're in surrender, and that means that really what is possible for you to be given to you, then you can really receive what's best for you. If you don't keep it in your own hands, so those are very beautiful moments, because that's when I feel, yes, now we can really work, because we're not working on ourselves out of our own power. We're letting something greater work through us. And also knowing, like, the way it moves me, if you give up those desires and are willing to give them back, it's the greatest treasure that you have. It's something that you think you can have, that's your biggest dream, you give it back. That's the most beautiful gift you can give. And with that, you get everything, but you have no proof of it in the moment. So that's like a vulnerable moment that is also very powerful, because you're confident in something bigger. So it's both very masculine and very feminine act at the same time.
Yeah, it brings me to tears now when you share this, because it was also exactly how I experienced that moment, like with giving everything back and going into this surrender. It was like I received so many presents at that very moment. And it brought me joy. I started laughing. I was like, oh, this is so easy. This is so simple. When you let go of visions and things you want and expectations, it's so free inside of yourself. And oh, look at this beautiful man. Oh, wow. And you start to see things that are actually there, which you just missed because you were focusing so much on the potential of someone. And then I realized that so many times in my life, when I was in a relationship or I was in contact with men or in a business or whatever, or working together with people, with focusing on the potential, you're not seeing them for who they truly are in that moment. And you never know what life will bring, but even surrender and to know that I mean, life is so magical, it's so perfect. So everyone gets exactly what he or she needs in every moment. And for me, it was even this awareness of, it's not my duty to bring out this potential in someone. I mean, it's orchestrated. And I thought that I could do it better. I thought that I was this beautiful magician, who could change this wonderful man into something that I wanted because of my little ego. And by giving it back, I came to the conclusion, like, and really the embodiment of the feeling, like, by handing it over to the divine, life will bring exactly what is needed. And life will provide exactly the way which has the most beneficial potential.
And it will probably bring exactly what you saw, because those desires are, because if you see the potential in somebody, it is probably true. So you probably see something that they will be capable of in this life. And then by giving it back, it's not you that has to make it happen. And so that when it happens, it's just given to you as a beautiful gift, and you just stand there and receive it and enjoy it and look at it, and really you can witness that with really the feeling I've somebody has given me a present, instead of like working for it and getting your wages, and that's a totally different feeling.
I even remember in our explorations in sexuality, there was a moment when I received so many beautiful images of our lovemaking. And at that time, there was nothing sexual between us. And especially for you, because it was so new, and I didn't know how to. So what happened by letting that go and with slowing down was that I was open for every moment to arise how it was meant to be. And what happened was, what I thought, in having this beautiful sexuality with this man, in a way that I saw that could be, because the energy was there, that if I would have, or if we would have been going there, in a much quicker way, that we missed out all the small steps. And that was so worthwhile to see that there is so much beauty in small steps, and quite often we even don't see these small steps. So I remember that we went back. So even all the sexual experiences that I had, I was invited to let it all go, and to go back to this blank page again, to surrender. And the first moment that you touched me, and it was so, I mean, it wasn't even sexual. It was just this touch on my chest, and Mattia was sitting in front of me, and he was looking at me, and he touched me, and I felt like a little girl again, like, I mean, a teenage girl, like never being kissed, never being touched, like I was 14 or 15, and I started to cry. And suddenly, this realization of, I really want this tantric connection and sexuality, and then see this purity in just one simple touch. And I realized, I mean, this is what true intimacy is all about. This is what happens when you see the moment, and when you are just with what is in that moment. So you start to look in a different way, experience in a different way, to feel in a different way, to connect in a different way. And
it's so funny, because from our own thinking, we think that we do this to get that. And even like these calls, we do this so it's like kind of a marketing, we show ourselves, but it's,
don't tell them, it's because it's fun, man.
Well, maybe. But then you find out that it's for your own personal development. It's what it's all about, because that is something that stays. And for me also to be, I think it's if you really have to learn to do things because you feel it. This is what I want to do, regardless of what other people do, how they change, whether they're listening to you or not, which is such a big theme. Because if people don't listen and you feel rejected and you feel not heard, you connect your self-worth to that. So And a relationship for me has been the quickest thing, and I've also seen it in you to really get that, to really stand on your own feet and be who you are regardless of the other person.
And it's still tricky sometimes, right? Because every time you step again into this feeling of, oh, now we're here, now we have this safe cocoon of our relationship, and something happens that awakens us again, like, oh, don't take this for granted, that you realize, oh my God, this is a gift every moment again, and to choose for each other every moment again and again and again in a different way. And it's beautiful because in my experience, we went through several stages. So it was like some kind of a piece that was completed. And then we were talking to each other, and it was like, I feel that we go into a different stage now. And then you make a decision, like, or you break up, or you say, oh, let's do this together. And we go even deeper and even further. And it's beautiful to feel, I think we had it 3 times now, to feel that some other layer comes up, and you just, you're in this together, and it's special. I never experienced this before in a relationship. It's like with every layer you come closer to your true self, and it's this wide range of different topics which are touched, because sometimes it was about sexuality, and then it was about working together, and now that our relationship feels stable in a way that, and I see stable as that you don't lose a lot of energy in discussions or arguments or even pain that is coming up. We still have it, but it's like it takes a few minutes and it's gone. We remind each other that we are not that, or we give each other the space to feel it, and then we move on in a way. So it doesn't cost energy anymore. It's beautiful. It becomes more joyful and more light. But now in our co-creation, we feel that the same cycle is happening now. So you can do it with your kids, with your relationship, with your partners at work, with your colleagues. It's always the same cycle. When you understand how it works, you can just have it with every aspect of your life, and that's beautiful. And especially to feel that this is possible with you. I was talking very fast.
Yeah, let's take a break.
Silent timeout. I want to read some things, like and ask if some people have questions about this topic or things that they recognize, like giving up our dreams, so difficult but so powerful, surrender to the divine. Yes, giving up your dreams is so difficult. And yes, every time a deeper layer,
A deeper yes.
A deeper yes. Yeah. And choose again and again and again and again.
And it's fine. Like for many moments, I didn't feel I could give a deep yes, so I just wait. Those moments were maybe more difficult for you, for me to find that yes, because I needed to know and feel what I was saying yes to. So it's fine to take more time, but usually out of wanting to not reject the other person, maybe you do say yes even though you don't feel it. So that has helped me a lot to not be able to give a promise that you can give, but still in not saying yes, I was still there. It was not that I was not available, and I could see you go through dealing with that. And every time you came through that, it feels okay. Now I can say yes because I see you know how to deal with that.
Yeah, and that's so beautiful. In the beginning, I wanted your yes so badly. But then I knew that if it wasn't a real yes, that I would rather have a no, until you really could feel it. Because I know this is important for you. Until you don't feel it and you don't see the relevance and you don't know it's your truth, you don't do it. That's exceptional. for me, it was learning how to do that. So, but when you're showing up and you have this yes, then I know that it really comes from your heart. So that experiencing this a few times really helped me as well to be more patiently and to give Matthias more space, and also to take this space for myself and to question myself, like, oh, why do I jump so often so quick? And what is the beauty in waiting myself until I really feel it, and instead of jumping on it without even thinking about it, because I just have this this excitement inside my system, and that turns out in much more depth.
Yes.
So yeah, it's enriching my life in so many ways. Actually, I never believed that I could have a stable relationship. In a way, stable, like where you feel this. Yeah, there's a lot of movement, but at the same time, there's this pure, solid grounding, like the roots of an oak tree, and it's even unspoken. We don't have to talk about it a lot, but it's beyond words. And even we have people coming over now at our house, which is wonderful to work with them, to co-create and to hold them. And so this is, another layer in the co-creation and in working with other people, that we know even when we are not with each other the whole time, that it's there. So
yes, and that knowing that you also know that gives me also, I can relax if I know that you know that, because then that has changed, because then I know that you trust what is happening. It's kind of this unspoken things between very, very good friends, that you just know that the other person knows that, and you can just walk in the same direction without needing to look at each other. And I said in the beginning, like, this is real friendship for me. This is what I long for in a relationship, that we're not so busy with each other, but that we can actually stand next to each other and can look into the world and see what we can do here. So we can be open instead of like having this all the time. And that's the work that you do. Of course, that's necessary, but yeah.
And that's happening now, or that's how I experience it. Yeah. And it's so beautiful because, I was talking so much, and then I feel Matthias's hand coming, and then he starts to hold my hand, and I feel, oh yeah, okay, slow down a little bit more. So we have these little small things that just come up, and then we know, like, oh yeah, this is what the other means. So you create this environment where you can talk without words, in just a little gesture, or in a look, or and the focus, it really changes. And in on one hand, I really feel that our relationship, or the reflections you give me, are making me a better person. It's like being with you helps me to live my own potential. So it's not that I'm not focusing on his potential anymore, like, oh, I see this in you, and that and that and that. But it's more like, oh, through you, I feel that I can get in connection with my own potential. And that's very strong to experience that. And not even in needing you. It's not, oh, I need you to be my full potential. No, it's more that just what happens in daily life, and the small things that are coming up, or the old wounds, or things like that are touched, that you see where you still can grow, and you still can get more in connection with your heart, or become more compassionate, but we know each other so well right now that even when I'm angry, it happened today that I was just a little bit annoyed, and expressing my anger, and you can laugh with it. So even then we don't waste any energy. It becomes even a little bit joyful afterwards, like, oh, this is so ridiculous. But there is room to express the anger that is there as well. So let's see. Sometimes it's just waiting for a yes. Anyways, that is hard to do as well. Waiting in the space, not knowing if it is a yes.
You know that space.
I know that space. Yes. And it can be very frustrating when you cling on to the yes and you really want the yes and you know that it can be a yes, but it's not there. So when I was focusing on the other too much to have that yes, I give my power away and I give my energy away. But to ask myself, so what is my yes? What do I want in this moment, and how can I enjoy what is here? Then suddenly you see that you get a lot of yeses on other things, not on the thing you have in your mind, but there's so much beauty in every moment. So to see that life provides you exactly with what you need, instead of chasing goals or want to form it yourself and to manipulate it yourself in a particular way, that's beautiful. Then, and at one point you really feel that you're in the flow. You know, you're, oh, this moment, oh yeah, or this moment, oh wow, oh, this is happening now. And it becomes so joyful and so wonderful to wake up every morning and to be excited. It's like, you know, I had a moment, we were traveling quite a lot. And I was like, oh, I want to have this travel life, this exciting life, and to see the world. And I don't want to have a household, you know, and I have 2 kids. That is, I mean, that's my challenge as a mother as well, to be there with the kids, because I'm so pulled towards this excitement. And with you, I mean, last month, what are we doing? We stay at home a lot. We have people coming over, but so we have a lot of time that we spend together. And sometimes, because there's so much to cook, I'm in the kitchen like 4 or 5 hours a day, just doing dishes and preparing dinner and cleaning the house and vacuum and scrubbing the toilets. And instead of feeling this friction like, oh fuck, where is this exciting life gone, right? What I wanted, this potential of having this life, it's seeing what is possible in each moment. And then I felt that I was pushing away those daily tasks. And I'm so good in connecting with the divine and have this, what people would say, spiritual things, or, you know, or tuning into the energy, or focusing and seeing what is going on in people's bodies, or shift their ways of thinking or whatever. But just the daily things were so difficult. And it was so painful as well to admit that, like, I feel frustration because I have to do the dishes again, really? And then it just changes and you see, okay, how can I make this fun? How can I enjoy this? How can I live this without feeling any friction at all anymore? So, and that is, for me, that is what is life is all about. When you're able to be in every moment. Maybe you have preferences. I mean, everyone loves the sun, or going on a holiday during winter or whatever. But that even when you have this beautiful offer, like, this is my dream, that you don't care anymore. You can do it and that's fine, or you cannot. Maybe you don't do it and that's fine too. That you're so stable and so loving and compassionate inside of yourself that every moment has the gift that it has to bring you. And it's also like that in our relationship. It's like, you know, sometimes there's sexual energy, okay, and sometimes there's not, okay. And before, what? Don't you feel sexual energy? Oh, you don't love me anymore. You don't find me attractive. You know, so all these stories are just happening inside of our heads. So for me, that's a journey that is happening now as well. It's a one-woman show again, right?
I was somewhere else for a moment.
No, it's up to you. I'm sorry, dear.
Yes. What if you don't live up to what you see
No.
in yourself?
What if I don't live up to what I see myself?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm.
That's a hard one, huh? Self-judgment, expectations about yourself. There's such an expectation of, that's especially like in the system of human design. That's what this guy that started it says. People are always treated the same, and people come into the world strongly being conditioned with, you have to show up, you have to show yourself, you have to create the life that you want. And he says most people don't work like that. So you are born in a world where there are so many expectations about who you should be, especially, and also coaching. A lot of coaching is about that. And for many people, it's much more natural to work together, for instance, or to answer to something that's coming into their life. It's just because it works better. And if you don't, if you try to live up to your own expectations in the wrong timing, you just get frustrated and tired, and over again, and then you feel like, I'm not going to do it anymore. So the expectations that you have is really like, how important are they, but more like how much are you capable of bringing them into being? Or is it something that you see like for the future that life will bring you? So because you're sensitive, you can already see and feel the potential in yourself. And probably you're seeing a very mature version of yourself that's very much in line with your energy and with your potential. But then you expect that at 22 you have to make that happen, which is yeah. So for me, I knew about my potential from the moment I think even before, but when I started to more open my heart, and I had some spiritual experiences that started that. I knew there was a potential to help and touch people, and a lot of wisdom. And then people said that also because they could see it. But then I felt I would have the right in the moment. I could just use that and as a magical tool. But still, like, the wisdom was there in potential, and it has, like, over the years it becomes more mature. So it's even beautiful to see and acknowledge that your gifts will ripen over time, and that you will have more and more to give. Yeah, especially if in the moment you follow what life is giving you. Like, I had moments I was living in a house where I felt so alone, but I knew it was life had brought me there, so I could go through those things. And I had a very strong feeling, if I go through this now, it will really benefit me in the future. And so just knowing that where you are is the right place, you know that you're learning the right things that you need later in life. So you can give up your resistance, because right now you're exactly where you need to be. And if you're not, then you also know that somehow, and you should make the changes that will bring you to a place where you are. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be comfortable.
I just want to, I feel like, even when, like Matthias says, that when you're aware of that, then suddenly something opens up in a moment, or that's how it works for me. And then you're like, okay, what does this moment has to offer me? So this curiosity and this openness comes because you know that it's perfect. And then you can get more out of this moment because you're open for it, instead of otherwise that you would not pay attention to it, for example.
I think also for some people that are particularly sensitive, it is a strong theme that, and I don't know, maybe the background, there's a lot of expectations or guilt that living up to your own potential, if you can see it clearly, like you could see it with me, the more clearly you see, the more prophetic vision you have, the the harder it is to live in the moment, actually.
Then I saw that this was a projection that I had on you, and it was about me, of course, as well.
Yeah, also being okay with your own limitations in
Yeah.
that moment, to be okay with that.
For me, about
Mm.
the potential, it has been quite a journey in my own life.
Are we still on this question of not living up to your
Yes,
okay.
yes. So we're still on what if you don't live up to what you see in yourself? Well, I did live not up to what I saw in myself for a very long time, because I knew I had something to offer. Everyone has something to offer, but I felt too young, or I had excuses, or there were these patterns coming up of I have to earn money and I have to do this and I have to do that. So it was like of playing this hide and seek with myself in a way, and everyone has a different story and things. And with me, it was this. I knew that my potential, or one of my potentials, was to work with people. So I wanted to be a teacher, and I was
Not a school teacher.
not a school teacher. No, I knew I wanted to work with groups of people when I was quite young, in my teenage years, but I knew I didn't want to be a school teacher. So in growing in this self-awareness and development, something came up that I was working with men and women around the feminine and masculine energy in Being, Love and Beauty for 4 years. But the thing is, so I thought, okay, now I'm living my potential. And I remember I had a teacher, not a school teacher, by that period, and he said, when you believe that you are there and you're living your potential, there's no room for growth anymore, and you don't know anything at all. I was like, what? So his words just they stayed with me. And after 4 years, then I saw that how I was doing my work with people, that I was caring so much about them that I wanted to help them. And my body reacted in such a strong way because I was so sensitive that I became sick, and things happened, and I had headaches, and sometimes the energy was so strong that I had to vomit. And I was like questioning myself, like, what is this? Now I'm living my potential, or I thought I was living my potential, but this doesn't feel right because my body is reacting in such a strong way. So again, I wanted to give it back. You remember what we were talking about, giving up and giving back, giving back everything we believe that is true.
And you
And
were actually living up to a very small portion of your potential.
yeah,
And thinking it was your full potential.
I thought it was my full potential, but it's not. And I believe we can never live up to our full potential. We can't, because we don't even know what is possible. And to realize that gives, for me, this kind of peace as well inside my system, like, okay, and this trust, like, we grow into it, and it's beautiful when we can be a little bit compassionate with ourselves. And at one point this week, that's just some small thing I wanted to share. There was a woman that I know, and she was reaching out for help, and I offered her a place to stay, so that she was welcome to stay with us. And she wrote like, what was it again? You don't have anything to offer me because you're living way under your potential. And I just read it and I was like, oh wow, interesting. So, quite often we have this idea about what is potential, and it's something that has to be big, or it has to do with a lot of people, and it's a goal that we want to reach, or it's when we're enlightened, oh, then we have reached our full potential. And I'm sorry to use this language, but for me it's bullshit. It's becoming more and more bullshit. What even is a potential? It's all, for me, it's construction of the mind and another story that you create. So in reading those words, and the very first seconds, I was like, oh my God, I'm not living my potential. Oh. And then I could laugh about it. So I'm very grateful that she was so straightforward, and that she posted this because I was having a talk with Matthias about this, like, okay, so what is your potential? Do you have to scream? Do you have to be of value? Do you have to mean something? And I felt like, actually for me, just being here and being more and more okay in every moment and with my children, and I feel closer to a potential than I ever was. And out of that space, something natural occurs. And, it's with the inward movement, it's coming out again at a time when you're ready for it. So when you have a feeling that you're not living your potential, to just be okay with that, and to be compassionate with yourself and relax into
Easier
it.
said than done.
I know. Yeah. It took me a couple of years as well, and still, yeah. Yeah, it's good to have you here, Benedict. Nice to see you. How do you experience that?
Living up to my own potential?
Yes.
Well, as I said, I had this very clear picture of the potential that I have. That was a very mature version of me that I thought I could step into the next day, which theoretically
Next day?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's like a cartoon.
I was feeling the energy, and going to work on my bike, I felt I could blow everybody off their bike with my energy and wisdom and everything.
Superhero.
So maybe one day. Yeah. But I know some of this has to come through practice. Even not judging yourself comes through practice. I don't know anyone who has done that or didn't go through some of that self-judgment. So, but for me, it took a long time, many layers. And I feel when it picks up speed, it goes faster and faster. And also being in a relationship, being reminded more really helps. But yeah, we're never living up to our potential. I think there's so much more possible.
Can you say it again?
No.
When you spoke out these words, like, we're never living up to our potential, it's beautiful.
It means there's always more.
Yeah.
There's always the opportunity to find something more than you're living right now, which is the real excitement. And I mean, we've lived years and years and years to look at what we didn't do and then punish ourselves for it, which is from a bigger standpoint, it's really funny. But if you're inside of it, it doesn't feel fun at all. It feels very heavy. So it's very hard when you're in that cycle to break through it, to feel that you're actually allowed to break through it. And for some, like, sometimes it helps me, the idea to see that you're born in this world with a certain potential, and you can start from zero and just go explore, and see what's there possible and grow. But then we choose to make ourselves smaller and smaller and smaller. So with the idea that after that we can even grow even more, we don't even have to. But there's also a wisdom side to doing that, to the self-judgment, which is if you can connect to that and see that why you do something is actually some beauty in there, because, well, it can be different things, but if you can connect to that and see that, there's actually, the feeling can come, wow, there's really nothing that I can actually do wrong, because now I know what this person feels. And it creates a depth in you that it's not necessary to go there. You can just go up straight away. You don't have to punish yourself. But if you have, there is always a potential to turn that into beauty. So nothing is lost. Actually, the deeper you go, the more pain you have felt, the deeper you can love. Even though no one is asking you to harm yourself and to do pain to yourself so that you can love more. But still, we choose to come into a situation that is hard and where you need a lot of love to go through it. And I have so much respect for people that I see. If I compare my suffering to theirs, it's like I know nothing. And that I see the potential that of people that go really through deep depression. I have such admiration for them because I know if they come out of it and they find who they really are in the midst of it, they're going to be such powerful people, because the people that have suffered a lot, they can experience life the most and be fearless. So
because you don't have anything to lose anymore, right? You haven't been through the deepest depths. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, Greet, being okay with not knowing, beautiful, and even admitting that you don't know anything. Not just being okay with it, but admitting that you don't know anything at all. Because the more you know, the less you know. For me, our human brain will never be able or capable to know everything. Even the most brilliant minds have a particular idea, or they know something in a specific, direction or on a specific topic. So this knowing or allowance creates so much curiosity. For me, it's like sometimes, more and more often, even in our relationship, I feel like being this little girl again, who is excited and wants to explore more. And so it's not anymore about seeing what is not there. Like, oh no, you're not kissing me. Oh no, you're not. Oh no, this is not happening. Oh no, this or blah. It's more like, oh wow, what will today bring? And
so you have made that shift. Like Benedict says, like, could it be the difference between living up to expectations from the outside versus excitement from the inside? So yeah, if your excitement from the inside is not connected to any expectation from the outside, then that's definitely true. Yeah, you find the beauty in being who you are, expressing because it feels true, not because somebody will react to it positively, or which I'm still learning to several degrees in several areas.
yeah, me too. Every day. So, but I can say, out of what we have been through or how experiences, that the moments that I gave up my ideas and the potential that I thought, they were the most liberating of all. And when I look now back at the past year that we lived together, there were so many moments of letting go, and it's even better than what I imagined. It's more beautiful. It's every step brought so many rich things. Yeah, it's amazing when I look back, and I'm so grateful for the perfection of life itself. Then that it's yeah. I don't know how it works, but it's amazing when you really start looking at it and having confidence in it. Life is magical. I think next week I see unicorns flying. And the potential that I saw in you, I mean, reality is so much better.
So your potential, the vision of the potential is a dim version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I knew your images were kind of lame. really? It's like that's what real friendship is. And I knew I could live up to that potential, but just you would need to have some patience. Because I know those things as well, but I'm not trying to fill them in because I know that they're there, but it's just it's something that I keep within myself that I know is possible. And I know just that life brings me there. Somehow that's what happens. If you don't say like this is impossible, no, you feel like you nourish it from within. Just by keeping it there and knowing like I know this is possible, okay. And
it's like you're breathing on it. You can really hold it warm in yourself, right? In your heart.
Yeah.
You're so patient. You have so much patience for this. Yeah, it's a beautiful lesson I learned from you.
But there's also the joy already in knowing and seeing, even though you don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe if it's not really going to happen, but you don't need to know because there is a knowing that cannot be expressed in words because it's so quiet, so still, that if you let go of all the things that need be, you know that's there.
And remember, that was your sentence. Yeah, it will happen. It will happen. It will happen. I was like, when? When will it happen? I don't see it now. When will it happen? And it did happen. Many, many things happened after some months. And the rest will happen. Yeah. But I care less now how and when.
Nice.
So I don't know if there are any questions left. Yeah. Patience and silence. Create silence within yourself. And trust. When you, it's like, yeah, what Matthias describes, when you hold it in your heart and you give it back to God or to the infinite creator or the universe or however you want to call it, then the desire is there, so it can be manifested in the perfect timing.
All the natural processes, like trees that grow or flowers or a baby that grows, you cannot force it. But if you know somehow deep inside, you know the timing of things, and it's usually longer than you would like to. But the thing that happens, like even with the baby in the belly, it creates a bond with you, unspoken, and then it's the natural way is perfect.
Yeah, when it comes earlier, it's not ready yet. It's also the trust that when it happens, it's perfect timing, and when you try to force it, it's just not ready to become reality. So thank you for this beautiful conversation. I had a lot of fun tonight.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So I believe next time, just like
the seeds,
yeah, cherish the seeds. They're already inside of you. So next time will be in Flemish, I think. Oh no, it's because of Christmas holidays. Maybe I don't know, maybe we do a live on Christmas. Maybe when we feel like it. And we want to feel if it resonates every time. So this is not another habit or, like you were saying, a marketing strategy. Or we really do this because we love it. And it brings us so much, this sharing, to be honest with ourselves and to see each other and to say what we feel.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Like that. So see you later. Thank
See
you.
you later.